Meanwhile, the president is busy now threatening $4 billion worth of tariffs, not on China or Mexico or any of some of the obvious names in the past. How about the European Union? To Real Clear Markets editor John Tamny, market watcher Mark Luschini on what they make of this. Mark, what do you think?
Well, Neil, obviously it's dangerous. I mean, we've been here before with Europe as it relates to automobile manufacturers, and now we're talking about the subsidies that supposedly are being applied to Airbus and its competitive threat to Boeing, of course, among other things. But the fact of the matter is this is what's helping to keep the markets on its heel. We go through these waves of, trade risk on, trade risk off, and now we're just happening to migrate from China to Europe, at least for the day, which is to say, we have a trading bloc there that's in size as big as the United States, which could escalate and create the kind of tension that China is currently or has been creating going forward, and probably an unlikely time when global economic growth continues to deteriorate.
John, I have to look at this and wonder, we're kind of spread out and far-flung with the threats that we have, that maybe for perfectly valid reasons, this would not be the first time the U.S. president has complained about the way Europe shields itself from American competitors. He's responding a little bit differently, but I'm wondering where this is going. What do you think?
Hopefully not too far. It's very dangerous. Let's remember that the U.S. has the most valuable companies in the world headquartered here. That they're the most valuable is a reminder that they get enormous amounts of sales from around the world, including in the EU. So any attempts to limit the ability of European companies to sell in the United States is a way of limiting the ability of U.S. companies to sell into what is a very large market. Who cares what the rest of the world does? Hong Kong's rich because its markets are open. So is Singapore. The U.S. is rich because its markets are open. It doesn't matter what other countries do. As long as we're open, we'll be the prosperous country.
You have to wonder, Mark, whether we it's like whack-a-mole with some of these trade deals or the deals we're working on. Let's say we score one, with China, and then we have something potentially just as worrisome, maybe not on a dollar sense, but thornier with Europe, with whom we have much better relations in general. What do you think?
Well, agreed. What we know is that we have a mercantilist president that makes judgments about other countries or economic blocs with regard to the trade imbalances we have with those countries. So this should come as on one hand, no surprise. On the other, as previously stated, it's worrisome, particularly at a time when, yes, we're a fairly closed economy with regard to our need to derive economic activity from exports. It's only about 12% of our GDP, but nonetheless important when we're operating at about a 2% growth rate here, and the rest of the world, as I mentioned earlier, continues to see decelerating economic activity. Compounding that by way of reducing business sentiment is going to be helpful to reflate economic growth, and it's not going to be good for our stock market.
I do notice that more people than just you smart guys are getting a little worried about it. I noticed that the Fed's Tom Barkin was talking about the chilling effect of trade, tariffs, and the rest. Prudential putting out a statement that the economy could be blindsided in terms of weaker earnings reports as a result of this back and forth. When you hear that kind of stuff, John, do you concur?
Yeah, of course I do. Let's never forget that our openness to foreign goods is why we're such a productive nation, because we allow others to do what they're good at, and we're able to more focus on what most elevates our unique skills. Let's also remember that countries do not trade. Individuals do. And markets and economies do not like central planning, but that's exactly what's coming from the Republican Party increasingly. The party that was once embracing of free markets increasingly wants governments to set the terms of trade. That's what poor countries do, and if we continue down this path, we will be naturally a poorer nation as a result.
Gentlemen, we'll see. Hope you're wrong on that one. You've been pretty prescient on a lot of other developments.